Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you could play a song called Someplace by Bugg. And it starts off on a G major chord, and the way you play G major, first finger goes to A on the 2nd fret, second finger on the low E string on the 3rd fret, and third finger on the high E string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now you may also want to think about using putting the 3rd finger on the B string 3rd fret, pinky on the high E string 3rd fret. If you strum all those together, that's another way you may want to play your G major through the song. And another option would be taking the G major shape that we started with and taking the 3rd finger and sliding it back just a hair to get it to the 2nd fret on the high E string for kind of a G major setup, which you may want to kind of play around with that. Kind of doing slide licks to 3rd fret can be a cool thing through the song too. And then from the G on our intro and our verse, we're going to be going to a D major chord. When we play D major, first finger goes to the G on the 2nd fret, second finger on the high E string 2nd fret, and third finger on the B string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to lift off the 2nd finger, which is a dangerous finger to lift, and that sounds a D sus2, so you may want to play around with that. Or taking the pinky and adding it to the D string on the high E 3rd, you get you a D sus chord, so you may want to play around with those and see what you can kind of say with it. Now the weird thing timing about the song though is it's in 3/4 time, which means you tap your foot 3 times for each chord. Or you may start feeling this in 6/2, but I think 3 is kind of an easier option if you're just starting out. So you took the G and just kind of tried 3 downs on G's. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And I'm kind of adding it to muting with the right hand. So through that intro and the verse, you could kind of think of it that way, just G, D, D. But a lot of times I like to add a strum pattern, and a good 3/4 strum pattern, at least for myself, is a down, down, up, down, up. So if you tried that on the G, you'd have down, down, up, down, up, 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 D, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, D. So you want to work it that way too. Or you could add basses into that and kind of have a low E string for your bass on the G chord, and then a D string for your bass on the D chord. So I want to kind of play around with a couple of different options there. Now you will also hear this cool little licks around the G chord actually, where if you take the 2nd finger and go to the low E string on the 3rd fret, and leave the 3rd finger on the B string 3rd fret, that's kind of a little drone G kind of idea. And you hear this cool little lick where you could take 2nd fret on the G string and take the pinky and kind of hammer on into the 4th fret on the G string. And you may want to leave that down for 3 counts, and then go to the 2nd fret on the G. And then you'll hear this cool little lick around the D chord where you could take 2nd on the D string and you work it as a hammer on to 4th fret. And then 2nd fret on the G string kind of comes out of that. And then 4th fret on the D. And you'll hear this cool little moving bass line where you do 2 on the D, 4 on the D, and then 2nd on the G. So it's a little crazy, but you got 2 to 4 hammer on. 4 hammer on around the G, 2 on the G string, around the D with a 2/4 hammer on, 2 4 2 4 2 is kind of your bass line. So you want to kind of play around with that idea too. That might be kind of a cool way to kind of work it through that verse part too. And then we'll basically be repeating that until we get to our pre-chorus part. And on our pre-chorus we go to an E minor chord, and we play E minor. First finger goes to A on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the D string 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord, and it sounds really sad. Now you may also want to add in the 3rd finger on the B string 3rd, pinky on the high E string 3rd, which sounds an E minor 7. And then from there we go to a D major chord, but you'll kind of hear the A string or the open A string kind of come out as your bass, and that's called D/A, or D with an A in the bass. And then we go to our G major chord, and another G, and then go back to D, and another D, and kind of keep that D idea going, but then you'll kind of hear this cool little bass line where you could kind of work the D string for your bass on the D chord, but if you take the pinky, you can kind of add it in on the A string 4th fret, and make that a D/C sharp, which kind of helps lead into our chorus part. So through that part, you'd have kind of the E minor, D, G, bass down up kind of idea. And on the E minor, you may want to play the A string for your bass, which makes that an E minor slash B, or an E minor with a B in the bass. That's not kind of a cool way to kind of work it through that part too. And leaving out some of those basses until you need them might be a cool way to kind of make it almost feel like you're in 6/2. And then from there, we'll be going into our chorus part. On our chorus, we go to a B minor chord. You may want to do this as 2nd fret bar, 2nd finger on the B string, 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the D string, 4th fret, pinky on the G string, 4th fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a B minor chord. It sounds really sad. Now another possibility would be doing a B minor 7, where you do 1st finger on the A string, 2nd, 2nd finger on the G string, 2nd, 3rd finger on the high E string, 2nd. And if you strum the A string to the high E, that sounds a B minor 7. Or another way to play a B minor 7-esque chord is to do 1st finger on the A string, 2nd, 2nd finger on the G string, 2nd, 3rd finger on the B string, 3rd, pinky on the high E string, 3rd. Kind of strum the A string to the high E string, and that sounds a B minor 7 with some cool stuff added. Alright, so B minor. And then from there, we go to our G major chord, and then we kind of repeat that idea. And then we end up with kind of this big hit on an A major chord, and we play A major. 1st finger goes the D on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger goes the G on the 2nd fret, and 3rd finger goes the B string on the 2nd fret. If you strum all those together, that sounds a big A major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to think about an A7 sus, where you do the D on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the G string, 2nd fret, 3rd on the B string, 3rd, pinky on the high E string, 3rd. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds an A7 sus, and you want to think about that for that A hit. And then from the A, then we go back to kind of a D major vamp at the end, actually. And anytime you're on the D through this the song, actually, you may want to kind of play around with different bass notes. Actually, even working around those ideas that we talked about for the intro verse. You may want to kind of play around with kind of bringing out those notes anytime you're on a D, like through the 10. So it's kind of cool D licks through the song. So we tried our chorus with kind of that bass down up idea, or kind of the 3 downs, or you can even take all those ideas and mix them up. You have B minor, G with Louis bass, G, B minor, G, A, and then we kind of pick it back up on the D. Then we'll be going back into our verse part, so we'll be back to kind of our G idea. G, D, and then from there, we're going into our next pre-chorus, so we'll be back to kind of our E minor, D with an A, the bass G, D with a D bass. So we got our B minor, B minor, or if you know there are licks around these chords, that's always cool to add into a G, kind of our A, and then we pick back up on the D. And then from there, we go back into our verse part, kind of. So we got that G, and then from there, we go into kind of our outro. And our outro goes to the E minor chord straight up twice. And then we go to the G, and then we're back on our D chord. To kind of a big E minor, and then a big G, and then a big D major at the very, very end. But that's the basics of how you can strum through Someplace by Jake Bugg. So good luck!